what's the best way to help your kids? After spending years and years running a pediatric practice in San Diego, and after years of, working with counselors and therapists and all sorts of professionals in this area, parenting experts, all this stuff. And
you've hosted mom circles.
Mom circles, yeah.
You've done
mom empowerment circles. Did that for a while.
50,000 moms have reached out to you for help, consulting, and guidance.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of data.
I've done a lot of research on this topic, and I've spent a long time thinking about it as well. I've noticed patterns in everything that I see, and the biggest thing, which I know everyone resists this one, is like the best way to actually help your children and give them a better life and support them to live their own best life when they grow up as adults is to put your oxygen mask on first. Help yourself, and then you can be a good role model for your children. And I know everyone always resists this one. They're like, I know, put your oxygen mask on first. We all know that. We've all heard it everywhere. But I just want to share some stories of my own experience, because I really observed this, and I also really much I saw this most vividly in my pediatric practice. Seeing these kids really, really affected this for me. I'm like, I could see, the mom would bring in the child for help, and I'd be like, oh, okay, let's help the child. And I'm, working with the child for weeks and weeks, and like trying to figure out how to best help this child with, mostly it was a lot of emotional stuff and, or bedwetting or stuff like that. But, eventually after getting to see the dynamic, I'm like, actually, what's really going to help the child the most here is if I help the mom. And I was like, the moms didn't want that. They were like, oh my goodness. They're like, no, help my kid. Why is my kid terrified of dogs? Why is my kid, unable to speak in class? Why are they peeing their pants every time they go to school? All these things. So it's got to be the kid. What's wrong with the kid? And it's like, the best thing that I could do, I actually, for many times, I was so worried about the kid. I was like, oh my gosh, I really need to help this kid. What is the best way I can help this child? I was like, Mom, please, I'm giving you a free treatment. Please just come in so I can help you. And I didn't even mention like that it's related to the child, but I'm like, I just really need to help you. I'm offering you a free treatment. Just come and experience it. And that's when I started seeing the biggest results in the children that I was working with when I was training both the mother and the child. And it was very, very, very much a great experience for me to learn that. But I also wanted to share my own personal experience as well, and moments when I ignored the oxygen mask analogy, and I was so focused on my own child. And it's like, there were times when my son was in the midst of our divorce, that's the most troublesome time of both of my son and my life. And so it's a great time to give examples from, is that he was, very confused by this whole process. And he was, he would have anger outbursts. He didn't know what to do with all of his emotions. It was so much for him to handle at 3-4 years old while we were going through this. Like, oh my gosh, it's too much for him. So he would have anger outbursts, which is completely normal at that to be a child of that age going through that, to have these anger outbursts. And he would just get so angry. And I was so hyper focused on like, how can I help him? And like all these strategies, reading all these books on how to help him not have these anger outbursts, because it broke my heart to see him like that, right? None of it worked. He still would have all these anger outbursts every single time. And what ended up happening is I started working on myself. I really, really started working on myself, working with coaches, meditating, doing more yoga, eating really healthy, doing everything I could possibly get my hands on. When my son was at his dad's house, I just buckled down, and it was just like self-care central, like everything I could, all the experts I could hire. Like, I'm like, I need help with this, but it wouldn't even be related to, sometimes like exactly what I was going through.
Dance classes,
dance classes, yoga, but also experts that just help me with my general well-being and, everything. I've hired so many experts.
Yeah, you have. I watched you.
Yeah. So
it sounds like the kids' well-being is a projection of their mom's well-being.
Yeah. That's another great example, is that a lot of times when my son is having a very emotional reaction to something, I share this with my clients a lot. When he's having a really strong emotional reaction, oftentimes I look at him and I'm like, that's exactly how I feel right now.
Oh,
Like I wish I could sit on the ground, kick and scream and throw things. That's how upset I am right now. He's externalizing and living how I'm feeling. He's picking up on my feelings and expressing them for me because I'm very good at suppressing my emotions, right? Or it's something that I'm actively working on, is expressing them and, working through them, processing them. But if I don't do that, if I'm not working on my emotions, he feels them, doesn't know what to do with them or where they came from, and just lets them out. So
Well, self-care is a big thing. If we're not rejuvenating ourselves, if we're not reinvesting into our well-being, it's like a couple weeks ago, one of my team members was like, make sure you're doing your self-care in the midst of growing and a lot of things that we're doing right now. And I was like, you're right. And so about 3 weeks ago, I committed. I'm like, every single day I'm going to go in the pool or I'm going to go in the ocean every single day. And so I've only missed one day so far since 3 weeks ago. We've either gone to the pool or gone to the ocean.
We're going to go
now. Yeah. Bye. See you in the pool. We'll leave the camera on and you'll see us right there. That'd be funny.
That would be funny.
I don't know if the battery will go an hour, but no. It'll take 20 minutes to get out. Anyways, but self-care is huge. Yeah. And that's super interesting. I think that's...
And taking care of yourself is not just... Self-care is such a wide topic. It's like really just making sure that you putting yourself first.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever you just shared just inspired me to say that the kids are modeling their parents. And they're modeling both parents. And they're choosing who to model more of and become more of. And either they're going to become more of one or more of the other, or become neither. If they can't figure out, right, they're going to look for, like you mentioned, that the kids look to a third, a teacher, another friend's parents.
I'll explain the analogy really quick since we've got some time before we go swimming. But they say that kids only need one solid person in their life.
Right.
So if there's two parents and one parent is not so good and the other parent is good, they're going to model that good parent. But if neither parent is good, if neither parent, ideally, both parents are good. But if one is not good, then he'll fortunately follow the good one. So your children will be good with just one good parent. But if neither parent is good, a child can actually make it and do very well in life if they have a role model in life. If they have somebody else in their life that is caring and interested in them and really is invested in them. It could just be a coach or a teacher or something. Anybody it could be even just a few hours a week, but somebody that believes in them. Mm-hmm. That's all they need. And so if you're worried, oh my gosh, I only have my child 50% of the time. If you're a good, solid parent and you're not emotionally unstable and you're really there for your child is going to turn out okay. But that comes back to you. You have to really make sure that you're working on yourself and you're emotionally stable and that you're really providing a good life.
Well, I've watched you start taking self-care more and more and more seriously and making it more of a priority. And I've watched your son notice how he's taking care of himself, because watching you look after yourself, he's like, I should look after myself. He does that. He's getting recognized from you for taking care of doing things himself.
Children model more than they listen to our words. They're modeling us more than they listen to what we tell them to do. So what you're modeling for your children is extremely important.
Super good. So look after yourself, because whatever you do, kids will do and model. Yeah. And if you're happy and if you're energized, you'll have the energy to then do the right. Yeah.
And it also comes back to what relationship you're in. My son sees our relationship and now knows what a good, healthy relationship is, and will model that in his adult life. But if a child sees an unhealthy relationship and you're staying in an unhealthy relationship, even if you're staying for the kids, right?
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Your kids will see that
love is hard. This is what love is. It looks like conflict.
There's no affection. There's no affection. There's conflict. Whatever it is that you're modeling in your love relationship, your children will think that's normal.
That's what it's supposed to look like. That's what they know.
Yeah.
They don't get to see the love of other parents. Yeah. They don't know what it looks like. They see angst. They see stress. They see conflict. They go, that's normal. Yeah. Then they grow up and emulate, model and attract, and then settle and be okay with the same thing. Yeah. Yeah, that leads to way more problems. So look after yourself.
Yeah, look after.
Be like Mandi.
now who I am now.
Yeah.
Right? It's a journey.
Well, you can tell that,
Yeah.
and you can see, like,
Yeah.
you can tell when someone's taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
You can tell when someone's been clearing their energy, doing the
Yeah.
body work, doing the mental work, doing the spiritual stuff, doing the therapy stuff, doing the life
All of
coach,
it.
you know, the dance practices,
Yeah.
the gratitude practices, the workouts, the eating healthy, the drinking of water,
Yeah.
you know, the eating,
Not drinking alcohol.
right? Yeah, all these substances, no
Yeah.
external mood modifiers.
Yeah.
You know, cutting all that stuff out, and then
Yeah.
just bringing in the positive
Yeah.
and nourishing.
Yeah.
What an amazing little takeaways we just put out there. So.
Awesome. Thank you all.
See you next
Have a
one.
wonderful day.